Welcome back to our new Anno 1800 series. We're playing with crazy mods and a custom map. All of the AIs are a lot stronger, we have a lot of new ships like submarines or aircraft carriers, and we also have new tiers of population. And finally I created myself a custom map to make sure that we have a unique experience. I've pinned the list of all of the mods in the Anno 1800 channel of my Discord. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the link to join the community. And of course in the video description below you can also find the link to the playlist with all of the episodes for this series if you want to make sure that you start from scratch. Let's go back to our empire. And it is episode 34, the perfect empire. As promised, I have fixed the empire and I can't wait to show it to you. There has been a lot of changes, but a lot of changes for good. Remember in the last episode, our income was in negative with a fleet that was only around 100,000 of upkeep. Now, spoiler alert, my warship fleet, because I also have a big trade fleet, but I think that trade fleet is important, we need it, but my war fleet is above 300,000. And still, we are not in negative, we're in positive. So let me show you that. The way we got there is thanks to this beautiful city over here, where I'm using the trick I showed you in the last episode of level 3 investors next to level 3 engineers. And with this, all of these skyscrapers are getting a perfect panorama. So visiting this city from up high, you can see a lot of those skyscrapers. There's also a few level 5, because I did hear your feedback in one of the previous episodes. We should create the skyline tower, and for that we needed 25 level 5. So I did create 25 of those level 5, even if, to be honest, they are a bit annoying, right? They reduce the panorama effect of the people around them. They require different productions, buildings, etc. So it is, we have the city, it is a perfect city. And as you can see over here, we are at plus 300,000 of money with the warship fleet, once again, above 300,000 of upkeep. So I'll show you the fleet in a moment. And as I said, the way we got there is really thanks to this. I didn't really change anything else, but you may remember that before we started this, my engineers were bringing around 250,000 income per minute. My investor, I think, was around 400,000 or 500,000 if I remember correctly. Now the engineers have doubled to more than 500,000 and the investors are at 1,400,000. Of course, the royal taxes have also jumped. We're at almost 1 million of royal taxes, but it's still a lot of money. And to make that happen, I also had to change all of the productions, right? All of the productions were below what we needed. So let's review all of this. First of all, now I'm using all of those small islands that you can see over here for productions. In the past, we had a couple, right? For example, this wheat one, but we weren't using all of them. Now I'm using all of them. This one is for wheat. This one is just for the mines, right? We have all types of mines over here with trade unions. All of them have trade unions, to try to improve the productions. Similarly over here, this is the same for mines. This was our Salpetre island, doesn't really change. Then we have this new one over here, which is for mines, but also for grapes. We need grapes for champagne, but also for the cognac. Then this island of fur, we had it in the past, but now it's a way bigger one in terms of we're producing a lot more fur with this trade union here and those perfect items that I love. If you follow my stamp series, you must have seen those items before because they really enable you to put a lot of these hunting cabins or woodcutters or things like this in a small perimeter. So with this, we've really increased the fur production on this island. We're now talking about 22 per minute. Then this one is also a new one. As you can see, there's a lot of mines. And on top of this, there's also a bit of grain. I'm using the grain, I'll show you where, but it was also to get more champagne thanks to the medal winning producers. And this hop island that we have over here is still the same. And to be honest, I actually don't need it anymore, but I kept it for nostalgia's sake, let's say. Now, on the other hand, you may remember this in this corner, we had a first island. I actually completely deleted it. It's not that it was anything bad, but it wasn't really bringing any money. It was very far from everything else. There was always a bit of illness or fires. So I just deleted it to make my life a bit simpler. But in exchange, we started this island over here. I call it new production hub because this is indeed where I've moved a lot of the productions. First of all, there was a lot of mines. We are taking them all, 2 iron deposit, 2 copper, 1 limestone. We're taking them all with items. So that was the first thing. Then over here, we have a good production of sand. There is even this Harbor Master office over here to make sure that we have a huge production. How much are we talking about? 41 sand per minute. So with that, I'm producing all of the sand that I could ever need. Then we have over here a trade union for orchards. I was starting to need more and more of those orchards. They are quite difficult, they don't have a lot of items, but these ones, the hand pollination methods, the interspecies grafting, and the optimized pruning are really good. They also increase the forest density, similar to the item I showed you before for the hunting cabin, but very high, and this one on top of it also gives me citrus, so I don't have to get the citrus from the new world, I already have it over here. So then we have a mix of the resin on this side and the cherry wood on that side. All of these are going to be used over there, right? This is my new production hub, which frankly is producing a lot more than what I need. As you can see, there is a lot that is paused, but if we were to increase the empire, we would have it. There's also a couple of good items over here. These are basically the only items that are supporting, these assembly lines and these artisan workshops. But yeah, we're producing everything here. We have the biscuits, we have the typewriters, we have the cognac, violin, toys, and the billiard tables. All of this requires a lot of resources, in particular from the new world, but they also require, the lacquer. The lacquer is made over here. We have an oil power plant to make sure that all of this works pretty well. And as you can see, we're missing ethanol. It's not that I'm not producing enough ethanol, it's just that I restarted my ethanol production just now in the new world. So it's gonna take a bit of time for it to arrive, but I'll show you in a second that we're producing enough. And then as soon as we start getting this ethanol, we'll start making the lacquer, and then all of these that are paused will restart because the only thing that they need is the lacquer. So yeah, this is a new production hub where we've moved all of those advanced productions. And then as I said, this is where we're gonna use the citrus. The citrus is already there. We're gonna use the cherry wood. We're also gonna use the grapes that I showed you, and then the resin and quartz sand. There is a couple of other resources like the flour and tallow that are made somewhere else. Also the brass and the steel. I'm gonna show you that just now. So now let's move to our worker island. We still have over here our worker quarter, over here our farmer quarter. These haven't changed at all. But we've changed some of the other productions. For example, over here I took out the production of canned food. This has moved. All the other ones are still there though. This is where we are making our soap, our sausages, and also our fish canned food. And we've added over here a new one, which is where we're gonna make all of our bread and all of our flour. Then over here, this hasn't changed. This is where we're making our advanced weapons, our dynamite, our bombs, over our work clothes, our fur, our suits. All of this is still the same. We still have over here all of the fish, which is also making a lot of tallow thanks to those items. And because of those items, we need to make sure that we drop the fish into the ocean. So we're doing that. All good over there. So the main change was definitely moving the flour and bread over here. And now let's move to our main eye. And now let's move to the capital. We still have the steel production. So I mentioned to you that we need steel. The steel is still made over here. We are making steel beams that are important for our ships. We are also making the motors still over there. We still have our artisan neighborhood, but as you can see, we have new production there. I have moved indeed the canned food, the canneries over there. I needed a bit more space. And now we have a dedicated trade union with Chef Michel. So that's an easy one. It does require pigs. So the pigs are over here. We need pigs. We have pigs. They have their silos. So that's why we have the grain over here. Then I used to have a lot of the orchards over there because you can see, these were the trees for the orchards. Same over there. We don't have them anymore. We have deleted them, right? And we've also reorganized completely this neighborhood. This used to be quite a mess. Now it's definitely cleaner. We have one trade union on this side. This one is focused on filaments and the brass, right? We're doing all of this on this corner. Then we have a second trade union over here, which is focusing on the light bulb and the glasses. Then we still have over here my cab assembly and the coachmakers. They don't really need items, so they are outside of trade unions, but they do have access to electricity thanks to this power plant. The only one that don't have access are the one over here, which is why I put Angela, she gives electricity, so that's perfect. And then we have the final and most important trade union over here, which is for a lot of sewing machine, my tools, my bicycles, we needed a lot more bicycles, and the one jeweler that we have. Remember, this jeweler also has Francois, so with this we don't need any pearls, we just need the gold. But I'm not even making gold because we actually have gold for free on another island. So now if you've been paying close attention, you may have realized that there's one production that has disappeared, which is the beer. I'm not making the beer anymore in the old world, I'm making it in the new world because it's cheaper to do in the new world. I'll show you in a second, but this is also why I was saying before that I don't need this hop island anymore, because I don't need the hop at all anymore. Now before I show you all of the changes in the new world, let me actually prove to you that we're making enough of everything. Let's start by the raw materials. Right, we are making enough wood, we are making enough clay, all of the mines, you know, as I said, I've increased my mining productions by a lot. So iron is good, coal is good, sand, zinc, copper, all of this perfect. Salpetre, not a problem, resin, cherry wood, all good. Making tons of gold and not doing anything with it. Bauxite and minerals are in the new world, but also good. Similarly for my agricultural products, good on the potatoes, wool, pigs, the grain, the olives, the hop, as I said, not used at all anymore, the beef, which is just for a lifestyle good, fish oil, banana, sugarcane, you know, I'm not gonna tell you the name, but as you can see, all of them are all good. We're producing enough of everything. Moving on to the intermediate products, you know, the flour, steel, all these are all good. As you can see, going slowly but surely through the list. Even the ethanol, as I said just before, you know, this is fully good. I just started it, so it's taking some time to just get to the old world, but it is good. Even the new ones that I showed you in the last episode, like the cables and motors in the new world, the medicine, all that is working perfectly. And last but most importantly, you know, the consumer goods, the actual needs of our people. The reason I'm producing so much fish, if you're wondering, is because we need the tallow that is produced for free thanks to those fishes, but we, you know, dump them into the ocean. Everything else very high. We're all good. Penny farthing really increased. As you can see, we need 17 now. Before it was like 8. That was an important one to increase. We also had to increase the coffee by a lot. I'll show you in a second. And then for many of the advanced production, we're actually making a lot. Like for violin, you know, we only need 1, I'm making 3, which is only one of those workshops. So I can definitely produce a lot more if needed in the future. Same for all of these goods, as you can see. So yeah, that's why I say it's a perfect empire. We are producing enough of everything. We're actually producing more than what we need of everything. And we're still making more than 300,000 in positive. Now, before we talk about the fleet, let me show you what I did in the new world, because there's definitely been some changes too. In our production island over here, we actually deleted a lot of the production because the ethanol is not made over here anymore. We're still making a couple of things. For example, you know, we're still making the ponchos, we're still making the perfume, chewing gum over here. This is still made over there. And we're still making tons of caoutchouc over here. You know, this is a very important one. But apart from that, you know, we've moved a lot. And it's not really a problem because remember that thanks to the airship platform over here, we have our shared workforce. So it was easy to move productions into my other island. We also still have the influence boosting island, this first one. I had to increase a bit my orchid production and most importantly also my cacao production over here. So I'm taking all of the space now, but that's the only difference. Similarly, on this island, we still have a lot of the population for the influence, and I've also made a bit of cacao on this side over there. But the major change is in Manor. Before I show you, let me actually do another championship. Always good, because you know we need more and more influence every minute. We're almost at 2,000 of influence thanks to those championship, and I only have 600 left. The population hasn't changed. We are giving it everything that we can. That's great. We're just missing the Samba school still. I haven't done that, but we're also good on all of the lifestyle needs. Now a lot of changes over here. We're still making the aluminum and those type of thing over here, but now we have a new production there. This is for my fans. One wasn't enough. We now have 2 of them. On the other hand, scooter 1 was still enough, so that's great, but that meant I need 3 motor plants now, which means I also need 3 cable factories. So that has increased and didn't have enough space over here. I also had to build a few more coffee roasters, so they are built over there. We also had to build 2 cigars factories. You can see them here. Then I needed a lot more celluloid. Remember, we moved the celluloid and we moved the ethanol production. So they are over here now. We have the celluloid, on this side, and we have over here the ethanol. This is actually in a trade union, but not a trade union that's helping that much the ethanol. It is actually for the chocolate factories, where I've changed a couple of things. For example, I don't need the sugar. I'm gonna use coffee beans instead, so it's simpler. Plus we have, higher production with ferras, and we have Charlotte that's creating sugar that I'm using for something else. So yeah, this corner definitely changed a lot now. And we also have a bridge to go this side because I needed space for some farms. And I also wanted those farms to have tractors. So for tractors, I needed those fuel stations, right? And remember that the oil was over here with my harbor over there. Maybe let's expand it one more time. So it made sense, to put the fuel over here. This is easy, it's on the way. And then we have a great trade union over there. This is a perfect stamp that I'll show you in my stamp factory. We have multiple different farms, but all are in range and all are, being boosted. For example, being boosted by the miraculous steel, being boosted, many of them by the arborist. And then I added lastly this one because we don't have the caoutchouc fertility, and I wanted to make caoutchouc on this island for 2 reasons. The first one is frankly this island, I was already producing so much caoutchouc, but the second reason is because I needed some caoutchouc on this island directly, so it's simpler, to make it on this island. So yes, we have over here some coffee plantations, right, for my coffee. We have some cotton plantation because we need a lot of cotton for many things. We have some corn for the ethanol, and we have some caoutchouc. So all of this produced over here. Don't hesitate to tell me if you have any questions, but yeah, I'm using the whole space as you can see. Now on the other side of the island, we've also extended a bit some of the cotton. I needed even more. Then this one used to be, I think it used to be coffee. Now it is actually sugar cane, because we needed a lot more sugar cane because the production of rum was definitely not enough for our expanded population. So now we have this. I have a second cattle farm over here. Then we have a lot of sugar cane there. This hasn't changed, for the spice. And then I've moved all of these hacienda productions over here. We have, the hot sauce. We have sugar. Then we have a lot of rum over here. And then we have a lot of beer. As I told you, beer is better to make here. First of all, this is only 30 jornaleros. Very easy to have a lot of jornaleros, and it's only going to take some grain and some corn. Instead of having to do the malt from the grain and then getting the hop that is hard, I can do all of this here. And I can even make the grain on this island if I want to, right? But I'm actually making already tons of grain in the old world on those small zero workforce islands. For example, this island that I showed you earlier, right? I'm already making tons of grain to get the champagne for free. With the medal winning producer, I'm getting a lot of champagne as long as I produce this grain. So this was easy to make it over here. Making the grain, then sending it to the new world to make the beer on those things. Then I needed a lot of corn for the beer, but also for many other things like the ethanol. So you see all of this now is corn. There's a lot of those hacienda one over here, and then just some normal ones on this side. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's how we got into the perfect empire. But then what you've all been waiting for this whole episode, I'm guessing, is what about the fleet, right? I said it's more than 300,000 now, so it's not just those 2 ones, right? But before I show you the full fleet, I did want to give again a big thanks to all of you. In particular, Christophe, here it is, you have an aircraft carrier, and David, you have a Yamato class. Thank you both for being the first 2 to subscribe to the new Patreon page. If you want to join, if you want to support the channel, don't hesitate to check in the video description below. The first link will get you to the Patreon page, which has a lot of benefits. There's also different tiers, starts at $1 per month. Of course, also big thanks to all of you that are following the series, sharing your thoughts like Anthony, Obo Dance, Mortanos, UPC, and many others. But yeah, now let's send those 2 new ships into the fleet. Where is the fleet hiding? It's over here. Look at this. I don't know how much ship we have right now, but the fleet has grown. Before I showed you how many, let's actually take a look at the diplomacy. The crazy thing is we're still behind her. She's still growing. Bente is now almost at 3,000, but we have jumped to 2,000. And the reality is I think now our fleet is way bigger than hers. The only difference is that she's also building tons of defenses on all of her islands versus we're not really doing that, right? We have defenses, but not that many. So now let me show you how many ships we do have. Okay, so we have 14 ships of the line, 10 battle cruisers, 4 monitors, a couple of other warships that, you know, here and there we get, 13 improved monitors, 5 of these P4ians battle cruisers, 3 of those improved Royal Galleons, 4 of those P4ian warships, 3 dreadnoughts. Then battleship is a big one. We have 5 over here. Then we have 17 over here, so we're already at 22, and 7 more, so we are at 29. So 29 battleship. Remember, those battleships are pretty good, right? We're talking about 12,000 hit points, 137 damage per second, so they're definitely good. Then 6 ironclads, 3 Yamato class over here, plus David that's arriving. Then we have some submarines, a lot of utility ships. Then I only have 1 cruiser class, clearly I don't like this one. And then let's see the aircraft carrier. How many do we have? So we have 5 over here, and then 10 over here, so that's 15. If you remember a couple of episodes ago, I said that because the US has 11, our goal should be to have 12. Well, we have 15. Perfect. Then we also have a lot of corvettes because I love their torpedoes. We're talking about like 20 of those corvette class. So yeah, that's a big fleet, right? I don't know how quickly this is going to move when we start attacking, but clearly I think this is good. You know, and I still have a fleet in the New World over here. It's not a big one, but we still have something. So what do you think? Are we ready for war against Bente? Tell me in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.